Okay, so I just wanted to talk about the political state of the world or whatever, like usual, blah, blah, blah. Because, I mean, it's ironic. I will say, I mean, I probably need to talk. Maybe I can get Deontay to do a podcast. But it's ironic that, like, you know, we voted for Trump. I instantly regretted it. Instantly, you know, it was a dumb, desperate plea for, like, things to benefit me in a employment sector, and instantly he screwed me over. That's all I'm going to say on that, I guess, until maybe I do a podcast with Deontay, if that happens. But what I wanted to talk about is, I mean, this is another ironic thing, is about India. You know, I had this whole thing, you know, trying so hard to change everything, you know, make this video, make a Medium article, make a freaking podcast about, like, oh, jobs are being, you know, taken away. And they're moving to cheaper countries like India, and it's happening at almost a, how would you say, a systematic way, like where they're, like, it's not in a beneficial, like, way for our country. You know, it's all just monetary, and it's kind of like a sleeper thing that's happening more and more in larger and larger scale, where, you know, there's a worry that it's going to screw everyone over. Well, in America, it's going to screw everyone over. But, you know, no one cares. You know, that's just it. No one cares. No one really cares. So, basically, the reason why I bring that up is because I did a lot of thinking, you know, because obviously, I guess everyone would know, is, you know, Trump and Elon Musk and a lot of Republicans are doing, like, weird decisions. And it's like, what the heck is this? Like, doing, like, crazy, like, you know, they're threatening terrorists every other day. They're freaking doing a hiring freeze for all government employees and potentially firing a huge load of them, and CIA, FBI, all these agencies and all these other government branches, like, say, like, for like freaking FAA and all this stuff, like all these agencies. And, you know, I'm thinking, like, it just doesn't make sense. Like, oh, is Trump like a 100% a Russian, what do you call it? Like a Russian agent, and, you know, somehow, you know, the FBI, the CIA are just useless, and they just didn't care. You know, they knew, they had a feeling, they didn't make any precautions at all. They just like, okay, well, you know, surely he wouldn't do more, you know, if he runs again. You know, surely Trump was the only time president would ever do this. So I'm like, it just doesn't make sense. But then I started thinking about, like, you know, how the world is right now. And it's turning out that I think everything, literally everything, even Elon Musk, even all these companies suddenly, you know, like, joining the Trump band and all that, it's a last-ditch effort, like a super desperate attempt to return things to how they assume it should be. And you might be like, well, what do you mean? What does that mean? Well, you know, there was a time, obviously, where America was on top. We were dominant in everything. We were dominant in business, dominant in financials, dominant in economy, dominant in politics, dominant in entertainment, dominant in music, dominant in everything. Like, it was hard to get away from America. Everyone wanted to be American. Everyone wanted to, like, you know, get an American investment or work for American companies. You know, it was great in the American perspective. But now things are slowly changing. And not even slowly. I won't even say slowly. Things are quickly changing. Say with China. Now, companies out of nowhere are making tech companies that are just as good as ours. Look at DeepSeek. You know, that's a huge one. OpenAI was always saying, like, well, you know, basically, no one's ever going to catch up because you need so much compute power. You need all this and that. You know, we're just too ahead. No one's ever going to catch up other than basically American companies. And then a random company in China showed them up. Just like, hey, look, we just made this, you know, chat LLM that's just as good as ChatGPT, as their greatest model, but we made it way cheaper. So boom. Then let's say with cars, China killing it with cars. You know, they're reinventing what a luxury car even means because they're doing it cheaper and they're adding more features and they're more technologically ahead with the features that they add. Even if, like, no one's buying them, it's the fact that they're making them. So when people are buying them, or when they can, you know, people go to China. Look at freaking their shipping and manufacturing. That used to be America's thing too, but now look, that's going straight to China now. Now China has those that influential like manufacturing, like where, oh, if shipping supply lines mess up because of a freaking pandemic, you know, it's over because everything goes through China. Politics, you know, everything is like changing in a way where it's like, dang, you know, places outside of America are doing just as good, so why would we pick the expensive one? It's the same with like outsourcing. Why would you insource to America? Like as another company or as even foreign powers. Let's even think about, say, India, where before, you know, America was on top. There was no, like, you had to go to Harvard, or say with China too. You had to go to Harvard if you wanted like the top of the line education. You had to go to American companies if you wanted the best, you know, the best products. You had to get American workers if you wanted the best workers. You had to, you know, if you wanted the most money, like the higher pay, you had to go to California for those tech jobs. But now, say China, half these people who are like saying the DeepSeek or whatever, they didn't go to American colleges. They went to Chinese colleges and are at the top of their leagues. Or say with India, there are people in India who are impoverished. You know, they're living in slums. And they're doing just as good work as American workers who went to an expensive 4-year college and got their bachelor's. So everything is like shifting, where it's like, what is the point of like, you know, like other than like tradition or like just the idea of like, oh, well, you know, it's America. You know, what else would we pick? What's the point even going to America? Like, say if you were in a foreign company looking for a new headquarters, and you're looking at all these different companies, like, you know, they're looking at countries based off of workers, based off of taxes, based off of like government incentive, blah, 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 blah. And if you're looking and you're looking at America, you're like, why should I pick that one? Because let's just say maybe the taxes are high, the workers are more expensive. So you're like, why should I put my headquarters there? Why not just put it in India? You know, it doesn't matter. I don't live in my headquarters. Like if you're a CEO, like half of our top management doesn't live there anyway. Half of our customers, it doesn't matter because we have internet now. So it doesn't matter where our headquarters are because we can just ship it out globally. So now big companies, big money, it's like, what's the point of going to America? And that is what I believe is scaring America now. Because imagine how stock markets work. So, you know, you exchange, you know, the stocks, usually, I would assume, not in a foreign monetary currency. You're going to do it in the currency of that place. Like, you know, when you open up a bank, maybe people don't know this, but when you open up a bank in another country, it allows you to use their stock market. You can't use their stock market without having a bank in the other country. It's the same with America. That's why I say someone in India can't use Robinhood, because they need an American bank to use, you know, to use the NASDAQ or whatever it's called, the NYSE. So because of that, let's say you're moving your headquarters to India. Let's just say it's cheaper to do it in India, cheaper workers, cheaper everything. So now you're like, well, you know, we're planning on going public. Well, we might as well go public in India, you know, might as well. So, and then let's say with all the money you get back, like let's say now you're going public in India. Now, you know, when you do your paychecks, because your headquarters are in India, now you're exchanging Indian, is it dinari or whatever? You're exchanging Indian currency. Or let's say with China, you're exchanging Chinese yuan. So because of that, now, let's say more and more people start moving to, let's just say China, for their headquarters. They're like, oh, I could pick New York where it's more expensive. All the workers are expensive because of the cost of living. Or I can move to, let's just say, I can go to Shanghai, where, you know, there's a huge, high educated population. They work for cheaper because the cost of living is cheaper. And let's just say, oh, and there's government incentives. So, there's even more profit going towards us now because they're looking for foreign investment. So now because of that, you're exchanging Chinese yuan more. So that means if more and more companies do that, now American dollar is dropping in influence. The American dollar is dropping, our political power is dropping, our economic power is dropping, everything's like dropping. And then what's worse, when that drops, like say the companies that are already in America, let's say the douchebag ones, Tesla, let's say freaking Meta, freaking Google or Alphabet, say Apple, whatever. Now they're getting screwed because they're already established in America. They can't quickly make a new headquarters in India. There's all this stuff they have to do. So now they are screwed. Their profits are dropping. So they're like, crap, we cannot let, China, we can't let all these CEOs start, or new CEOs or new companies start seeing the benefits of, say, moving headquarters there. Because it's all about money. It's never about the people. No one cares about the people. It's all about money. So we're like, okay, we can't let foreign investment and let's say even domestic investment start moving too much to China or too much to India. So we have to find a way to convince them to stay here or to move here. Like, let's say it's still foreign. And what's the easiest way to convince someone to stay or to go to a certain country? Taxes. That's the thing that everyone hates, is taxes. So they're like, okay, we can lower taxes like crazy for the rich, who are the CEOs, the ones who are making these decisions and stuff. But we got to get that money from somewhere because we still need the money to run the country, or, we still need this money. Taxes run the country. But then it's like, but we can't, we can't tell the people to pay more and more taxes. They'll start rioting or they'll get pissed or they'll never vote us in again. So then that's when, say, for example, the government freezing and firing and this whole Department of Government Efficiency, because okay, then we'll make the government run leaner. So then we won't need as many taxes. So then we can use that money that we save from making the government leaner to lower the taxes for the rich. So then now the rich will keep coming to America. Let's say with the tariff stuff, that's just with the monetary stuff. Let's say with the tariff stuff. It's a desperate attempt because they're like, crap, these other countries are being influenced by, say, China or India, where they're like, why would we trade or interact with douchebag America when we can just do it with China or India or whatever? So now they have to do these certain threats. Like, for example, when Trump was like, if anyone in BRICS tries to not use the US dollar, we'll do the greatest freaking terrorist, 100% terrorist, blah, 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 blah. Because it's super, they're getting super desperate. They're getting scared. They have to, now they feel they have to make these threats and these rash decisions because it's do or die now. Because these countries, these companies are all thinking, maybe we should, not rely on America as much. We don't have to, especially in this day and age. So that's why they're freaking out. And that's why they're doing all this crazy stuff where you're like, what the heck? It's not for you. It's not for me. It's all because of the money and the power. And it's because the power lines are shifting. And they're trying to block the river. They're trying to reroute the river. And, I don't know if this is a saying, but maybe it does need to be a saying, is that you can't move rivers. But if you did, there will be consequences. There are these consequences of trying to move the river or even doing it. You don't know, for example, you shift that river to turn left instead of going straight. Now that whole valley's gone. That might change the whole river valley now. Death, no vegetation, the soil dries up, all because you try to block this river for whatever reason. And worst of all, it's going to keep going. You might have blocked it for a while, but that erosion is going to happen. And it's going to go right where it was going initially. You might have delayed the river a little bit. Or if you actually do fully delay it, you just created probably the apocalypse. You created your own downfall that you're worrying about the river doing. So it's the same way. They're trying to block that river or reroute that river. And I don't think there's any way they can. I don't know how that helps us. I guess you could prepare. Maybe start investing in freaking India or China. Because it's seemingly not good. And the more desperate they get, the more obvious it becomes that it's, it's basically GG. And I think, personally, not to bring race into this, but I think it's the same thing with, like, say, with Elon Musk with this whole Nazi, Hitler, blah, 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 blah crap. Because they're seeing, like, because people take, I think this is an issue with the humans in general, is that humans will take something and then, like, try to take it all. Like, say with religion. Religion has these certain beliefs and these certain lessons that are great, that actually, like, it's a good thing to learn. But then we'll take it another step and be like, oh, well, obviously, because I learned these lessons, that means this thing is also I need to do. And, then wars start, and then, they're trying to push the religion on other people, or they're taking, like, the words literally instead of figuratively, or, they're not learning lessons. And it's the same thing with culture. There is nothing wrong about wanting your culture to stay pure in a way, because that's good. You want to be unique. You want to have differences. That's what makes the world interesting, is that everyone's a little bit different. Or there are different countries that are, that focus on certain things, or have different types of art, or, think in a different way. That's interesting. That's what makes the world unique. But some people take it to the next level where they're like, no, our culture is not only just unique, it needs to be superior. It needs to be worldwide now. Where it's like, it's ruining the whole point of, like, having that kind of culture where it's like, okay, now I'm becoming supremacist. It's not just our culture's cool to me because I'm part of it. Now I need everyone else to also recognize and also become part of it, or at least bow down to it. And I think that's what a lot of, no offense, white people will do. I mean, other people will do, but white people do it to they're the big one that does it. So because of that, say, for example, Elon Musk or Trump or, any of these, like, powerful white type people who are in that mindset, they're starting to see that the white race is not doing, it's similar to America, where it's not completely dominant anymore. They're not taking over the world, and, their culture is supreme, or, everyone is bowing down to the white populace. Now, let's say, for example, look, China, the Asian race, doing great. They're doing amazing. Where it's like, crap, white people aren't doing as well. This is crap. And they reinterpret it to the white race is dying, actually. The white race is not only dying, but now it's an issue. We got to repopulate the white race because it's, if they take it to this, like, personal level. And I think that's what it's that desperation. Like, say, with Elon Musk. That's why he's trying to have kids, as many kids as he wants. He's not going to change the river. One person having 15 kids is not going to suddenly make the freaking white race take over the whole world again. But in his mind, he's thinking that because he's so desperate. Because he's seeing that, crap, this doesn't mean anything anymore. I'm slowly becoming no different than, say, a rich Asian now. I'm having just as little or enough influence as any other person. And that freaks them out. That worries them. And when you're at these certain types of, like, influence or power positions, those small little worries seem like it's the end of the world. Like, say, to me, let's just say China becomes the top global whatever right now. It's like, okay, I guess I gotta shift the way how I do my job, or, maybe now I have to learn some Chinese, or my kids are gonna have to learn Chinese. Maybe I won't, but now my kids will. Let's just say, if I, like, oh man, maybe I have to move to China now if I want to get a good job. But say for the rich in America, for example, they're like, crap, my wealth will demolish. My generational wealth will completely fall apart now that China's on top. Like, their world ends. And same with, like, say, the white race kind of thing. Like, where it's like, to Elon Musk, where maybe that's such a big part of his person that, like, that's what made him feel like he was important, was that at least I'm part of this culture, this culture of elite, of whatever race. But now he's saying, oh, wait a minute, everything I knew was a lie almost. Like, the other people are doing just as well, if not better sometimes. And he's like looking on TV, he's not seeing as many white representations. Like, maybe it's not even that it's a low amount. Maybe instead of 90%, it's now only 57% white representation on every TV show. And there's like more other ethnicities. So to him, he's like, crap, the whole white race is collapsing. You know, this is not good. This trend is not good. Meanwhile, let's say a normal white person just like, oh, that's more diversity. It's kind of annoying, but you know what you gonna do? And they move on. They move on because it's not that big of a deal. But to them, it's huge. So I think that's example, like, say, why they're, like, say, freaking Elon Musk is trying to do all this Nazi stuff. Because it's like a desperate attempt. It's a desperate attempt to stop that river. So it seems insane. Because it's so desperate. It is insane, I should say. Because it's so desperate. He's like, well, the only way to do this is we need to bring back the Nazis. Because at least the Nazis were pro-white. And they admitted it out loud. So that's the only way. That's the only way to stop this river from blocking. We have to go full all right. So that's about it. That's basically my whole thing. So I think everything that we're going to witness and we have witnessed is all trying to stop this river that is going to keep flowing. And to be honest, I don't think it's going to stop. I don't even think it's going to slow. If anything, like I said earlier, this attempt to stop the river is just going to make it even worse. It's going to make it even worse. And then they're going to get more desperate. And then it's going to make it even worse. And they're going to get even more desperate because it's making it even worse. And then it's going to, you know, their whole is just going to blow up at that point. Because they hit that peak desperation where now everyone's looking like, what the heck? I don't want to mess with them, or I don't want to deal with them. What the heck? Now, not only does, say, the other countries look better, it's a safer choice. So, yeah, that's about it. So I hope it doesn't get to that level, but who knows? Who knows? Because I think people are getting super desperate. Even with me. The whole reason I made that video, it was desperation because I wasn't getting any jobs. Still not. But, I was looking and seeing like, oh, all these jobs are moving to India. I need to do something to try to, like, bring jobs back. Even though nothing was going to happen when I did it. Because no one watches my videos. It's not like it was going to go viral, but I was desperate. I was desperate for something to happen. To the point where I even voted for Trump. Which, again, see, that same thing, that same lesson. Where me doing, I mean, it technically doesn't matter, but in my mind it kind of does. But technically, because Virginia went blue anyway. But still, I voted for Trump, and Trump was is the person who makes it even worse. He makes it even worse. Because now, the jobs that I could have had, they're gone now. They're completely gone. So, yeah, that's about it. Nothing else to say other than let's just hope for the best. With them out.